I'm super excited to be here with you guys today. My name is Lorenzo Hoffman. I'm on behalf of the Brazilian Student Association. I'm here with Bella Nazzari, which is coming from A16Z, but that's not how you pronounce it, is it?
No, you got it. You can say A16Z if you want.
Really? Okay, nice.
Excited to
So,
be here with you guys today. My name
oh,
is Lorenzo Hoffman.
um, so yeah, I mean, Bella, if you want to introduce yourself, kind of tell us about a little bit of your background.
Yeah, sounds good. Hi everybody. I'm Bella. Nice to meet you. Oh, Lorenzo, do you want to mute it potentially? Just because I can also hear myself. And if anything, in a moment, I'll let you kind of give it a rundown of the event, and I'll go get my headphones if it starts getting really bad. But nice to meet you all. I'm Bella. As Lorenzo said, I work at A16Z. Also, another way to say it, which is the full name, is Andreessen Horowitz. It's a venture capital firm based out of San Francisco. Just we're investing in companies all around the world, and specifically supporting the part of the firm which is called Speedrun. Speedrun is a an early stage accelerator that was started about 2.5 years ago, and invest in companies worldwide, but also in different industries, different types of businesses, and yeah, has I think I said 330 or so companies in its portfolio at this point, and it's going to only grow as we start to accept more and more companies into our accelerator. And we actually have our applications for Speedrun 7 open and closing in 3 days. So if you are building a company, or I know if you're considering the cusp of joining a company or building a company, now's a good time to start getting involved with Speedrun and checking us out. But yeah, and then just a quick thing is that for my day to day, my job is specifically not. I'm not an investor. I don't, evaluate pitches and decide who's going to be hired or sorry, be invested in as a portfolio company. It's my role is to help those portfolio companies hiring. So those 330 companies I mentioned, if they and any one of them starts hiring, they have access to kind of like myself and three of my colleagues that can help them hire people. And there's various ways we do this, but yeah, a big part of my role is just evaluating talent throughout the day. And it's a lot of technical talent, but it actually extends into a lot of other things now that we have companies that are getting older. And when I say getting older, it just means that they have more needs with time. And so beyond just technical hiring, which tends to be a bulk of what people do in the beginning of a business, they'll start doing other hiring like around go to market or sales or marketing. And so I can help and step in with that now, as well. But yeah, my background's in technical recruiting, so a lot of like what I kind of have the best, what you could say like maybe pattern recognition or experience would be with technical talent. And yeah, so I'm happy to share some things I've learned here today, and maybe help some people with what I'm observing as well.
Beautiful, nice. So yeah, before we start looking into the resumes that we picked out, I just wanted to give out a quick thanks to Saywise for powering today's talk, today's teardown, as we're calling. They are kind of like a resume 2.0, so they're going to help you guys basically build your profile so that you stand out among other candidates, kind of building out your CVs and creating a storytelling device when you're applying to jobs. So yeah, Bella, today I picked out three different applicants, three different CVs, and we're gonna go kind of in increasing order of technicality, at least from how I see it. But I'm excited to see your opinion on this as well. And yeah, so let me open up
And
over
for
here.
the record, everyone, and sorry, there's going to be a lag for a second, but for the record, I have not seen these at all. Like I have no idea what I'm getting myself into. So you're really going to get my candid thoughts. I have like no idea what it's about. I'll just say that.
That's good. That's good. I think that's kind of like nice that we see your first reaction to these CVs, and it's not like you chose them first. So that's gonna be pretty cool. Anyway, let me share my screen over here, and let's go on. So our first candidate is gonna be Elena Rupental. She is one of our members at Braza, and so kind of just read out the document. Tell me to scroll when you want, and just kind of walk us through our thought process over here.
Cool. Okay. Well, first of all, it's hard to say, sorry, Lorenz, can you mute for a second? Thank you. For It's hard to say, exactly what a good resume or a bad resume looks like, unless you know exactly what the person is aiming for. So I'm gonna just read out what I'm perceiving of this person's profile, and then I don't know if you know Lorenzo, if she's here or what, but if I could get an idea of like what she's looking for, that would be very helpful as well, for me to kind of level set it against. And the reason why I say that is, so I'm not reading yet. Is to understand the stage of the company that she's aiming to work at, to understand the industry she's aiming to work at, to understand the kind of even like country, like does she want to work in a US company, Brazilian company, whatever, right? And so I'm assuming, because you're kind of sharing with me, it'll probably be an American company, but or like at least like a maybe American and European company, but at the same time maybe I could also assess on the Brazilian side. But anyway, it's always good to have like kind of those two things in mind. But I'll start by reading out what I'm kind of seeing here. And if you could just scroll up, I want to just see the very top of the CV really quickly. Just to see like the.
I'm gonna try not to leak anybody's personal information here, but
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, that's fine.
it's just her
Yeah.
name
Okay,
and her
so-
contact information.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I was gonna say, so just a quick side note, I can't see the contact information, but yeah, like always having, phone number, always having your email is important, and the location you're currently based, and if there's any like open to relocation, putting like a dash, like open to relocation to X, Y,
Yeah.
and Z, right?
Those first
So
couple in there are there. So we have location, we have email, we have phone number. So
cool, awesome. Okay. I mean, I like the overall structure of the resume. Looks great. Education, work experience, leadership experience, and involvements. I mean, this is good. Another way to say this could be like, projects, and then like obviously she has more of like a front loaded, like it's all about leadership experience or like club activities or things like that. And so I think that this is a good way to frame it. But like, if you're a different type of job title, maybe you'd say projects here or something like that. And then can you scroll all the way to the bottom as well? And sorry, I know this is like I'm going very high level, but just so it's like clear kind of the things that I pay attention to as well. And yeah, and then additional information is great. So cool. I think that, you know, the structure here looks great. I don't have any comments. I think where it would be the most helpful is for me to understand what exactly she's looking for. I mean, for me, it seems like, okay, clearly, sorry, can you scroll up to the work experience again? Um, Clearly, she wants to work in sales operations or some sort of like business on the business side of a company, and all of this like leadership experience. And obviously, you look at BTG, you look at like the kind of other associations with kind of the clubs and what they're surrounding. I see stuff with like technology in there. I see stuff with um, you know career coaching, talking to like executives. I think like it's very clear that she's apt for being on the business side. So I think it reads probably what she's looking for. Where this resume becomes unclear to me is like if she wanted to work at a startup, for example. I'm kind of like, okay, I need to like, I might want to see like, in the order of operations, what the smallest, kind of scrappiest places she worked was and had the most impact in like a very kind of scrappy way. So that's why like projects are good, or talking about clubs is good. But overall, I think it reads that way. I think this is like a pretty good resume. And sorry if it seems like a little bit too high level. It's just because also like with this kind of resume, it really is important to know exactly what she's looking for.
nice. Okay. So the
Do you
first
have any
couple
questions
questions.
for me, by the way, like about any other parts?
Yeah. So I was gonna ask. Sorry. Do you mind mute? Yeah. Okay. There we go. So I think the first thing that comes to mind, because I've seen a couple CVs, right? Is this format something that we're looking for, or does this kind of get lost in the midst of, better design or something that looks prettier? Is that something that you're looking out for?
No, this is a good format. Yeah, I 100% like. I believe in the standard resume format. This I have a lot of comments and thoughts on the resume for different roles. So like for engineers, I think resumes look or not even look, but like it's a different thing. Um, some big tech companies are very still interested in a resume, and in that way it should be in this format, kind of similar here. But like if you're like a startup, usually they just want GitHub links and they just want, you know, projects, and they want to like maybe see a personal website. So we can get to that in a moment. But overall, like this is like the standard resume format. Yeah, I should have sent you my resume so you could like put it on the screen. And it fits it. It basically fits it perfectly. Yeah.
Okay, nice. And I mean, obviously, this is gonna come with when we're applying. This is gonna come with like a motivation letter and other supplementary material. Is that kind of like, if for example, for this profile in specific, right? What would you be kind of looking for? What would you be expecting? Like, what kind of information should come along with the CV as part of an application?
So, okay, I would challenge that line of thinking in that I think it's always working backwards from the opportunity you want and less about like writing a cover letter around your experience explicitly. Like for example, when I was applying for the job I have now, I wrote a cover letter, and in the job description it said we're looking for A, B, and C. And then in my cover letter I said like here's my evidence of A, B, and C, and also like what are the unique characteristics I would bring to A, B, and C that like a lot of other applicants wouldn't. And so it's kind of about actually reverse engineering the job description as a and putting that in conjunction with kind of the cover letter, as opposed to take this resume, build a cover letter out of it, of like because at the end of the day that's like not necessarily super helpful. Okay, and I do want to say something. I mean, there's this body of research that just came out about AI and interviewing, and AI resumes, AI generated resumes versus not AI generated resumes. And then like obviously there's this whole thing of like, oh, people are using AI on one side of the table, and then people are to evaluate, and then people are using AI to apply. And we don't, to be clear, like my team and I operate very differently than a lot of companies. So for us it's like I wouldn't what I'm about to say doesn't really apply to startup world. It's a very different evaluation process. But if you're talking about a company that still is like, we care about a resume, we care about a CV, and if you have any speculation that that type of company, because of its scale, would be using AI, there's an interesting body of research that came out which suggests that let's say there's a I don't know, Claude Opus 4.5, evaluating your resume on one side, and then and then you apply with a GPT 4 point whatever on the other side. They actually will evaluate the resume, like they will weigh the quality of your resume relative to how that model is trained on kind of like to understand what a really good resume looks like. So basically it's in the most ideal scenario, a company would share like, hey, we're evaluating your resume with this model, and then you would be able to tell you would be able to adjust your resume with that model as well, so that it would best represent you to its own model. That's just not the reality. It's not going to do that. And so you have to, if you're going to tailor your resume, I don't know, this is not like a foolproof, fully researched thing, but if you wanted to try this out, like having a few different AI models tailor around your resume, and maybe have like a mixture of them. I don't think I do believe in writing your own resume yourself, because I think like the act of reflecting on your experiences, culminating the knowledge to understand like what were the relevant data points, where was I like actually impactful, what's relevant to bring up here. You can't outsource that to an AI. You're the only one who knows your experiences at your employer. So it's important to write it yourself. But then like in terms of like tailoring random words or like structure of like a sentence, or making a point clear, sometimes it could be fair to just like toss it around like two or three different AI models and see how they respond. So anyway, that's just a call out to companies that still really care about resumes, which is not every company, by the way, at every stage. So I'll just say that. bit here, and then that's also kind of covers the like reverse engineering from a startups or sorry a company's job description to write your cover letter as well. Kind of falls into that as well.
Right. And I mean, ultimately, uh, so when you go into, I think if you write your own CV, it helps a lot when you go into like the interview process, right? Since you had the time to reflect, you actually are more prepared naturally to the questions that they're going to ask you in an interview, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have to tell a story in your interviews. So it's a very important thing to be have fully kind of consolidated those experiences in your head. And the way it totally depends on the quality of the interviewer you get, and depends on the company you're at and the culture. But I would say like a good interviewer will always ask you probably a pretty open-ended question and then let you kind of give your initial response and then go drill down and drill down. And so, the thing of like, for in order for something to be simple, it actually requires a lot of thought. Like that's just like a common uh, you know thing, whether it's in design or in products or or in writing. Like in order for something to feel very distilled down, it probably comes from a culmination of a lot of conflicting thoughts that then like, okay, but here's the average of the whole, here's the common theme, here's the like thesis statement, if you will. And so I think a big part of the kind of interview process is doing a lot of reflection and then just kind of like, what is the most important thing for me to say? And then like, here's the thesis statement. Here's what I mainly was really good at my last job. Like for me, when I was at Amazon, the three things I was good at, um, hiring candidates across the entirety of Amazon. So like sourcing and hiring candidates, experimenting with AI tools and posting on social media. That's like it, right? And then, oh, okay, I'm an interviewer. I'd love to hear more about. I'd want to drill down a little bit more on the hiring and sourcing because that's what I really care about. And so the reason why also that self reflection or thinking things through is very important is because then you're like, okay, here's all the avenues that we can explore, interviewer, you choose your route, and then they're going to like that more because they feel more in control of the interview. They feel like they can, it's in your advantage because they can pull the information they need to give you like a thumbs up for your interview. And so anyway, yeah, so it's very helpful to like do that reflection. And whether it's in a resume format or in some sort of like talking to your AI and whisper flow and like just dumping out like your brain on everything that you've done and then trying to structure it with bullet points after, that's fine. But I do find a resume is a really good way to consolidate it, and like the act of cutting things out is also a really good exercise for discernment and judgment.
Nice. I really like the in-depth analysis. Anyway, I say we move on to the next one, and let's try to go about these, especially because we have a couple minutes left. Next one, let me open up this one. Right. Can you see it?
Yeah. Cool. So I kind of believe in summaries. I kind of believe in summaries. I mean, this is good. I do like the summary here. Okay, okay. Okay. Yeah, I like the summary. Technical skills, professional experience. I would probably switch it to professional experience and then technical skills under. That's just me. But it's not neither here nor there. All the information is there. Um, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of bullet points here. To be honest, it's a little bit too much for me. Um, but I do like get the idea. It's just like how much of this can be cut down even more and more and more. Um, is it just this is one page?
Yeah, it's one page.
I don't doubt that in some capacity, uh, I don't know if it's he or she or what, but I don't doubt that they had trouble filling everything or not not going over. I would say that the for me, like skills and education and certificates and everything should go at the bottom. Doesn't matter really which order it goes in, and then like professional experience should be under the title, and like if you have a summary, like maybe the summary can go on top of that. Um, Generally, like I think limiting yourself to, um, if you were working at, so for example, this person was working there for 2 years. I think limiting yourself to, like, maximum 1 bullet point per year. I don't know, that sounds intense because obviously the, like, development the rate of development, or, like, maybe 2 bullet points per year, I don't know. The rate of development, of, you know, of products, especially when you're an engineer, is, like, rapidly accelerating, so your ability to, like, put bullet points here with while being in depth and having data and everything, like, can be tough. But I would say, like, in general, probably some, consolidation can happen here. And I also think that, I also think that I'm just reading a few of the words here. Um, yeah, so let me give you an example. So the first bullet point, and again, like, this is not, recruiters can read your resume in 6 seconds and kind of know, okay, if I'm going to move forward, because what they have is they have the knowledge of what am I exactly recruiting for, and then they look at something and they're like, okay, does this person match, and they can see some of those things. But I'm just going to tell you a few things that, like, let's say your resume is already in the hands of the people, and, like, they give it to a hiring manager and they're actually going to read through the bullet points. Some things that can help with consolidating things down and prevent you from having, like, every single one of these bullet points has, like, a double line. Um, so for example, in the second bullet point at the top, it says led development and maintenance of the embedded Linux platform. Like, you can literally just say, like, uh, you know, developed and maintained the embedded Linux platform, and, like, led, and it's so many words, um, that it's like, I don't know, it's just, like, a little bit unnecessary. Like, some things can be cut down a bit. Uh, let's see.
I mean, yeah, I feel like maybe trying to condense to maybe like one bullet point per achievement or project. I don't know if that would be a better one. Also, for this one, we do have a portfolio if we want to take a look at that.
Yeah, I think portfolio would be helpful. I
Okay,
think
let's do
also,
that.
just a quick mini rant for engineers in general. I think portfolios and GitHub links and all of that are going to become increasingly more important, especially, like, for startups. I know that somebody asked a question here, and sorry, we can talk about these later, but, like, the difference between recruiting for a startup versus big tech. Um, you know, both will care about all of your information, but I would say in general, like, um, for startups, like, people weigh your portfolio and the way that you're able to kind of, like, almost bring a product sense to your experiences a lot more. And also just shows, like, more of, like, a scrappiness and, like, eagerness to build products on your own personal side. And I think that just, like, founders see more signal in that. I mean, you have to put yourselves in the founder's shoes. Like, who are you going to choose? Like, the person who just has a standard resume but they have, like, no portfolio, they've never published anything on GitHub. Obviously, like, some of our projects would be private if you're working in, like, highly regulated industries, so you can't expect everything to be public. But, like, does this person technically look like they ship every day? Like, those are the kinds of things that are starting to matter more in startups. Like, is this person just, like, in the game or not? Okay, cool. So let's see. I mean, this looks super cool. I love the fact that there's an illustration on the hackathon wins. I mean, this is something that I think about all the time, is about, like, people. I don't know where people go and brag about their hackathon involvements. So it's good to do it on your own personal profile. I Yeah, okay, cool. I like it. I like it. Um, yeah, these are all really, really good ways of, like, if you feel like you don't trust a recruiter to visually illustrate to themselves, like, what your experience looks like, just make it super freaking simple. Like, like, kind of like what you had in the beginning with, like, the boxes of, whatever it was, like 31% throughput, 2 hackathons, 4 years of experience. Like, this is just, like, you can see this and just so quickly know if it's the kind of profile you're looking for. um, and that's what you want. You want people to have discernment around your profile. If they can't, like, discern quickly, they're just going to always write it off. But if they can discern, they might be able to be like, okay, wait, maybe they meet 80% of the qualifications, right? um, cool. And then I like the percentages. That's pretty fun. Kind of like another way of doing skills or tools. um, Yeah, established connection. That's fun. Credentials, cool. Um, let's see. And then when you click the / resume button, what does it do? Out of
It
curiosity.
downloads the resume. So
Oh,
it's
nice.
this that we have here.
And then the dashboard is what we're looking at, I'm assuming,
Exactly.
or no? Yeah, it is. Okay. And the home button, is that different?
I think it just takes you up.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I like it. I think the links are all there. GitHub, LinkedIn, everything's great.
I think the first time I accessed this, there was a cool little animation. Yeah, this.
Let's see. Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, in general, a portfolio is such a good. You should just do it. You should invest in that. Also, just to play around with design, play around with like how can I make my experience most visually apparent? I mean, you guys are all more than just two-dimensional LinkedIn boxes and a few bullet points on a resume. And so a portfolio gives you so much more leeway to experiment with that and try new things. So I think in general, it's like a huge win to build a portfolio.
Cool. Sounds really good. I think, I mean, this is really clear. I really like how everything is just like, I feel like colors just make it so much easier to see, that you have this kind of highlighted, you see it's the last thing that happened, and these little stats here. It almost looks like a video game. And I think it's really cool when people do that. How about we move on to our final selection of today?
Sounds good.
Okay, I'm going to open up here. All right, here we go. Also, by the way, everybody, we're going to have a cool, quick Q&A session at the end. So I'm taking note of all these questions here, and we're going to answer them in the end.
All right, we'll go quickly because so we can leave room for that. But okay, so I mean, this is kind of like a question of like the resume formatting we talked about in the beginning. I mean, I don't mind this. Again, like I kind of told you guys before that like for me resumes are just not even like weighted that heavily. So it's different, but I think, every company's going to have something kind of a little bit different on this front, and every recruiter honestly has a different brain on this. That's why like, just making information as clear as possible is the most important thing. I don't believe in like necessarily there being one format. I do think that the other one just presents itself in a way that is very, very, presentable. And so it makes things easy. But I mean, I think this looks good. Everything is clear. I think there's less bullet points in this one. And it does seem a bit more concise. Some of these, the person in this case, like Jordan, is calling out specifically like the tools used in each of the projects. In some case that could be like cut down and just put at the bottom with the tooling, and maybe save some words, but also it's neither here nor there. That is what it is. And then in terms of like bullet point number 3 in the first one where it says like integrated state of the art AI technologies including OpenAI 11 labs, etc. I don't think you need to say like descriptors like that. I think like it's pretty implied, and if anything it could actually bite you in the butt because kind of like, how do I put this? There's like this idea that when somebody and by the way, this isn't that serious of a thing, but I'm just kind of like going to teach you a little active psychology here. Like you can totally write this and it's fine. Like I'm not going to like knock you for it, but in my head it tells me something, which is like um that you think this is a state of the art technology, which by the way it is. It's amazing. But also if you kind of just say like integrated OpenAI, 11 Labs, and DeepGram, it tells me like it's not this like big deal for you. And in a way, it kind of signals to me like this person's just in the throes, like they know what's going on, like whatever. Obviously, Jordan is an AI senior engineer, so I'm not gonna like sit here and say, I'm gonna read that title, I'm gonna read the experience and be like, okay, cool, this person probably knows what they're doing. But when it says something like that, it signals to me a little bit like, okay, but like let's say a head researcher at OpenAI was reading this resume, like do you want to say integrated state of the art technologies to them, or do you want to just say like using OpenAI? It gives a different tone, it gives a different feeling, it makes it feel a little bit more grounded in reality, as opposed to like that's the integrated state of the art technology versus all the other things on my resume are kind of just like regular technologies, which you want to like make it seem like, no, like I'm working on state of the art technology. I am the state of the art technologist and engineer. And so anyway, sorry, it's just like a kind of a subtle comment there. It's the same way, like I'll tell you one more thing, is if somebody is like, oh, I went to Stanford and sorry, let me put it this way. I used to work at a coffee shop growing up, and then I, did ballet growing up, and like, yeah, I ended up at Stanford a little bit later. It's like you don't lead with Stanford, right? And I'm kind of, obviously Stanford's like an amazing school, and so like that means something. But I'm saying like sometimes burying some of your most impressive things can say something, but also there is something to be said about leading with the most impressive things. So play as you will, kind of think about that idea of like, how can I play it cool and clear and concise, but also get the message across of what I did. And so that's why I think, yeah. Anyway, sorry. I think I like went too deep on that, but just a slide tangent. Everything else looks good. I think maybe one redundancy around lead mobile engineer around senior mobile engineer. To me, I'm like, where were you leading a team in one of them and not leading a team in the other? Like kind of like choose like, choose one maybe. But obviously every company also has different titles, so maybe that's the title that was prescribed to you. But this is just like if you're kind of the one outlining these titles, sometimes having senior all the way down can give that person who's reading the resume like, oh shit, this person's been a senior engineer. But if it's like senior tech lead, I'm kind of like, okay, yes, obviously a leader, but like, what, were they all the same level, or like what was the deal? Or were you a manager in one? Were you an IC in one? And then yeah. Do you want to go just down to the bottom one more time?
For sure.
Um Cool. I mean, I don't know. I always forget about like how to properly cite a publication, but if this is the proper way, then, or if it's not the proper way, do that. If it is, then that's great. I'm not a person who like knows that. I just like will look at the title of the publication and be like, okay, does that match what I'm hiring for? Okay, cool. And then some of the sizing is mismatched, I'd say. I think like uh the Conselho Nacional one is a little bit bigger. And like Bachelor of Engineering is a bit bigger than everything else. Like, I don't know. Anyway, just kind of like tightening things up. I mean, I'm also just have a design brain, so I see that, but it's not a big deal. Yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
that's my
I say
feedback.
let's take a look at his portfolio.
Sounds good.
So here, I think this one's really cool.
Yeah. Cool.
So we have kind of this like basically makes him feel more like a person. I feel like, it gives like the book that he has, a picture of him, what he's listening to, and then like a really quick summary, and then his resume again, I think presented in a more concise, like better structured manner.
Yeah, I think so something I'll say that's great about stuff like this is that the recruiter or whoever you talk to first, it's good to connect with them on a human level. I mean, this person is like, a reason a person becomes a recruiter or ends up in that position most of the time is because they want to advocate for people. That's like their big goal, is to like champion people. And so when they can meet you on a human level, it can help them remember you and give you more kind of like afterthought. And I don't know. I hate to like think of it as like you kind of like manipulating them or something, but it is just kind of, it's a really good tool just to like connect with someone quickly, give them like, memorable tidbits about you. And then also if a hiring manager were to come see this, like, oh my God, I also love this band, you get a little bit more bias towards you, whether or not you like whether or not it's like, correct or not, but it does help with influencing. And I think that in general, also just like, having highlight reel, I think in this one, there's this highlight reel of like the 100K plus users and products and teams and everything and all that. I think that's good. I think maybe you could even add a few more highlight things here. But overall, yeah, actually, no, this is pretty good. Yeah, I think this looks good. I would say this is a great
Cool.
start.
And then
and could always add more.
I say we take a look at his GitHub as well. So just kind of guide me through what you want to see, if you want to take a look at any repos specifically, or just kind of like a general overview.
Yeah, can you click the repos button? I mean, this person has quite a few stars. I'd be curious. Like, I would probably, to be honest with you, I would probably go in with a chatbot and just ask, like, can you look at some of these repos? Tell me what these stars are. Like, what are the projects that are doing the best? Like, what are the kind of people who are like giving this stars? Like, is this person contributing more? Or are they actually building these repos from scratch? Like, I'd probably ask these questions that just like for me, so I don't have to do a bunch of clicking. But like, I wouldn't ask it to evaluate code quality or anything. That's not my job. But I would just ask it to give me like the what is like the kind of overview. Yeah, I mean, seems like this person's shipping code a lot. Can you click the stars button? Or at least like, yeah, I mean, whatever this project is at the top seems like he's a contributor. Yeah, it seems like he's contributing to a lot of projects. So I don't know. Cool. Yeah. I definitely think it's a good start. Obviously, he's actively building stuff, so I would want to like learn more. Probably reach out
Okay,
for a call.
nice. If you see something like this, would you ever like click on one of these repos and kind of understand more what they're doing?
Yeah, maybe. It depends. I would probably leave that to a hiring team. I hire for like 300 startups though, so it's a bit harder.
Right.
Yeah.
But okay. So yeah, those are the three profiles that we selected for today. How about we answer some questions now? We have a couple people answer some really interesting questions. So I'm going to start off here with this one from CKMO727, which is really interesting. What do you think about video resumes? They can add to the story, but hiring managers and recruiters are so busy that I wonder if they have time to watch them.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, my birthday is 07/27, so I like your username. I think that in general, it's a really cool idea. I think it's yeah, I think it's a really cool idea. I don't have any comments here. I agree with you. They're really busy, and so it depends on like how you bring that into the format. But I sometimes find if somebody just has a video that they want to make, like a cool, fun video that really explains who they are, and attach it to their resume in general, people will find it. Oh, sorry, was I muted? My bad.
No. You're speaking.
Okay, cool. That they will find it and still go and watch it. It just depends on like what you're doing. Like if you're an engineer versus you're like a marketer, people are going to care about it more or not. But I think it's cool. I think it's worth experimenting with. I would go for it. And at the end of the day, you learn something and you have a piece of content that you can share.
Okay, yeah, that's really cool. Another question from earlier is how much time do you realistically spend actually looking at a resume?
6 seconds. I don't look at resumes though. I look at like LinkedIn, I look at GitHub, I look at like, I just kind of see how active someone is and then just get on the phone with them. And I also just look at like, their title, which I know kind of someone put here in the chat, like, if, about titles. Like for me, I'm not recruiting for one job at a time. I'm a recruiter for like a bunch of startups. So if I just see like engineers, I usually will just reach out to them, especially if they're in like, kind of relevant industries or if it's clear that they're building stuff. So it's a bit different for me, but I would say like this is evidence backed that most recruiters on average, maybe not myself necessarily, but like in general, it's like 6 seconds. Yeah.
Okay, I was definitely not expecting that amount of time. I thought it was way more, but I think it kind of tells me that I have to maybe put a little bit more emphasis on some things and less on others. This is a really interesting one. How do startups viewing resumes differ from corporates or big techs?
Yeah. So it's I think startups just care about something different. They care about you being uniquely skilled and having a lot of hustle. So they want to see, they want to see something different. I mean, it's kind of like if you were building if you wanted to just find out the really good candidates fast and the ones that had high agency, what are you going to look for? People who obviously have like are shipping a lot of code. People who are obviously building, a ton of stuff, maybe building a presence online. People who make it very obvious to you, whether it's through like conversations you have with them or through like things that they are showing online and how they're representing themselves, that they're capable of what you're asking for.
Okay, nice. And another question: when does cold calling or messaging should a person share? Sorry. When cold calling or messaging, should a person share a poster or a slide deck to highlight their project since resume might be boring?
um I think that's a good idea. I've had a few people show up to my calls with like a little tiny, kind of how do I say, like, yeah, like slide deck. And I've always really liked it. I don't know. It just shows intentionality. And so yeah, I think it's good.
Cool, yeah. And then let's do this last question here before we wrap up. Would you need or is it recommended to have a GitHub presence for non-engineering roles?
I do. I personally ship code. Now that like you can vibe code things. Just for like, I just would say try it out. I think it's the time to start building stuff and figuring out how to use GitHub. The only thing GitHub is just a way for you to store your projects on the web and commit that code somewhere. So if you're vibe coding, there's no reason why you shouldn't at least build a GitHub profile to save it there. That's how I feel.
Right. Okay. Well, I think that's our time over there. Bella, I just wanted to again say thank you so much for your time. I love the chat today. Lots of great insight. And I'm definitely going to change the way that I apply to opportunities from now on.
Thank you so much, Lorenzo. It was really great meeting you. We'll talk soon. And then I also hope all of you will apply the talent network I put there. I'm going to hop off, but if you haven't, go ahead, click that link. Thank you again for inviting me. And yeah, valeu. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you so much. Obrigado to all of our spectators today, and have a good week, everybody. We'll see you soon.